This is the AHSAA Weekly, an inside look at everything happening with the Alabama High School Athletic Association. I'm John Holder. Coming up on this week's program, we will have Steve Mast, the head football coach of the Class 5A state champion St. Paul's Episcopal Saints, also the head coach of this coming weekend's Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Classic. He'll be coaching the Alabama team. We will chat with him on the show this week. Also this week, we will have David Holtzford's highlights. Obviously, the highlights this week will be all Super 7 highlights from Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. We'll also speak with Executive Director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association, Steve Savarese, and a special look back at all of the Super 7 championship games. That and more on this week's AHSAA Weekly.
Home making you sick? Moisture and unsafe air from your crawl space can infiltrate your home, causing health hazards and high utility bills. Ox Foundation Solutions can remedy any mold or mildew problem in your home. It's time to get strong. How strong? Ox Strong. Get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Ron Ingram, Director of Communications with the Alabama High School Athletic Association, had a chance to sit down this week with Steve Mast, the head coach of the Alabama team in the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Classic, coming up this Saturday from the Crampton Bowl in Montgomery.
Coach Mast, welcome to Montgomery for the 2020 Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Game. You haven't had much chance to recuperate from that exciting finish on last Thursday night for you. Tell us a little bit about the finishing up the Super 7 with a championship and then moving right into this game.
Well, we're still on an emotional high, as pretty much well to be expected. It was such a tremendous win for our guys last week and our entire community and school. But was able to enjoy that for a couple of days and shifted gears to come down here. We knew this was going to happen, obviously going back to last spring and summer. So, heck, we're excited to be here for this one now.
Well, Coach, I know you're also excited to see the talent that's on this Alabama team. Not everybody gets, it's fun. You've coached some really outstanding players, but to have this many at one time, and you just have to be pretty excited, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and the good thing about this one is that in the past we've had to worry about the kids how excited they are about playing in this game because they're all going to go to the Under Armour, they're going to go to All-American. Well, that's not going to take place this time. So the thing that we want to impress with these kinds of group of kids is this is their last high school football game. And they have a chance to represent our state against the state of Mississippi. And with the talent we have here, we're so excited for that opportunity for these guys.
You got a burden, though. You got the Alabama Mississippi's won 3 straight games in this series, even though Alabama still leads 22-11 in the first 33 games. You have a purpose too, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Coach Savarese and everybody has made that known from day one when he appointed this position that, Steve, we want to win the game. And I think he's been pretty adamant about that. But the big thing he's been adamant about is that we put on a good show for the people that our players act right, which we know that they will. They all come from great programs in the state. But, yeah, let's get that trophy back to Montgomery.
Looking at the roster, Coach, what jumps out at you right now about Alabama?
Well, I think the receiving core is as good as we've had in several years, and I think both quarterbacks, that although different type of players, they both bring a lot to the game. And then the defensive line, I think, has a chance to be really strong there too. And so I think with the quarterbacks and receivers, the defensive line jump out at us, and then obviously we've got some DBs that are going to a lot of good places.
And looking at the roster, this looks like it may be the biggest offensive line collectively we've ever had.
I think so, and we got some kids there that we can move from position to position that will help some. We've got some centers that can play guard, and maybe in the guard that can play tackle. Then we've got some true tackles, which I think you need in the game.
Speaking of centers, this team has something that it probably has not had before, a guy who specializes in long snapping.
Well, when we put the roster together, Ron, we felt like that was a very important component of the game because the kicking game, even in a game like this, can cause you some problems. So we sacrificed a position player for a true long snapper, and I think that will pay dividends down the road during the game.
Of course, your own center's in the game.
He is. Ivan's in the game, and but the good thing about Ivan is he can also play guard, so he's really a two players for one type deal there. And that was another consideration when we put the roster together. We want to make sure that we had a kid that was able to shotgun snap, and the kid Bob Jones could do that also. So I think we've learned that lesson a few years back. That's when you pick offensive line, the first guy you get is the center and be able to do the things we want him to do.
You know, the first year of this series, Mississippi tried to get another all-around player in and didn't pick a kicker, and the game went into overtime, and it actually cost them. And the next year they had a kicker.
Right.
You know, we all learn from things that
we do
from time to time. But right now, Coach, tell us how. I know you're fired up to go from one to the other. But what does this game mean to the state of Alabama, to the High School Athletic Association?
Well, I think it means the world. I'm one of the old guard. I can remember when we first started doing this thing back in the early '90s when it was at Ladd in Mobile. And it was a big deal then. And as a high school coach in the state, it was always a big deal to me to have a player to play in the thing. So I think now with the new climate, and hopefully we can grow from this, that this is premier game in the state as it should be. And it's an honor for me to be the head coach of this game.
Tell us a little bit about your staff also, Coach.
Well, I think we put together a great staff. I think there's three of us that played last week that are on the staff. Paul Benefield, the defensive line coach from Fife, who's won, 45 in a row, and Paul and I coached in the game before. And then we've got Daryl LeBeau from Pleasant Grove that we had the pleasure to play against last week, coaching wide receiver. So those two guys, along with myself, we were pretty busy last week. And then you throw Keith Etheridge as the defense coordinator, and everybody knows what he's done at Oxford. And then Tim Carter's the offensive coordinator from Fairhope, who's an outstanding football coach. And then we got Jimmy Perry from St. James, who's been around forever, as good as special team coach that I know of. And then we've got Lev Holly from Blount coaching the secondary, and then Brett Mask is coaching the offensive line from Copper County. So I'm very excited about this staff. Shane Sullivan's here with us from St. Paul's as the scout coach, administrative assistant. So the meetings we've had so far, we've had a really good time doing those things.
Coach, you mentioned Brett Mask. I look back at this year for you. You had an opportunity your team presented you with your 200th win, the 100th at St. Paul's. Y'all won the 400th game in St. Paul's history, won the state championship, and now you're going to be coaching in the Alabama-Mississippi game, and that's your son, right?
Right, he is, and we're putting this thing together. I talked with Coach Savarese and Coach Briggs and said, what's your thoughts on it? And Brett actually worked for Alvin at Florence High School, and I said, well, I'm looking for an offensive line coach, and I think he's the best one in the state. He said, well, go get him. I said, well, the problem is he has the same last name. And Alvin stood up, he said, go get him. If that's who you want, and I know what a great quality coach he is, go get him. So Brett was chosen on the ability not because of his last name.
Now the players reported Tuesday afternoon, Coach, looking down the roster that you have, I know we mentioned the positions. Is there somebody that you just been itching to get to coach?
Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is the number one prospect state is Kool-Aid. And I watched him play the other night against against Spanish Fort on TV, and it was pretty evident to anybody that could watch that when he played offense, he was dynamic. And then you never knew about him playing defense, so Spanish Fort didn't mess with him in it. So I'm really excited to see him up close in person. There's just so many of these guys that you hear the names all state. I'm really excited about coaching this game.
And this will be your third time in the game, Coach?
Third time in the game. I coached in 15 with Coach Freeman, and then the 17 with Coach Diblett, and first time as a head coach, and probably my last appearance in this game. And I'm going to be the biggest cheerleader we have out there. That's my personality. The number one factor we're going to have is going to have fun, but we're going to represent the state with class and character and put these kids together in a very short amount of time. But you know what? We can get it done. Coach,
one last question. This game started back in 1988. It's been played ever since. This is the 34th playing of it, even though we played 2 games in 1 year. This gives our state, our association, our kids, our coaches a chance to show the rest of the world basically what's right about high school sports in Alabama, isn't it?
Well, it does. And again, I keep going back to, this game was in trouble a few years back. We had some kids that were not playing, and then the association said, we're not going to let this thing die. and give both associations, Mississippi and Alabama, credit for coming together. And I know now we're on a home and home deal, which I think, quite honestly, lends a little bit more competitive balance to it. We played in the first game in Hattiesburg, and I'm gonna tell you what, that was not a pleasant experience. But I think it's premier all-star game in high school right now, and I'm glad to see that our association and our coaches are putting more emphasis on this game than on the national game. The national games are great, but this game represents our state.
Okay, congratulations, Coach, and good luck for Saturday afternoon.
Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all having me.
Thank you.
Coming up this week on David Holzford's Highlights, David Holzford of the Alabama High School Athletic Association picking out some of the key moments in the Alabama High School Athletic Association Super 7 State Football Championships from last week at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. All of these highlights, of course, from right here on WOTM.
Bell sets up the screen the other way. Look at Jamarcus Williams. He's going to come up with a pick and the 6 as Williams takes it to the house, and the Patriots take a 26-8 lead.
Watch him pluck it right out of the sky. Trying to run the screen again right here. Williams reads it immediately, tips it, pulls it in, and nice little cutback move here too.
He will give the leg and taketh away, and he goes into the end zone. Bell gives it off, nothing there. Loses ball, and is he going to do it again? Jamarcus Williams, not only does he pick one in from 6, or for 6, he also picks up a fumble and rumbles in for 6 more.
I think
look at this. He just rips it away.
Just rips it away.
And picks it
just
up.
Great play.
Jamarcus Williams, celebrate, big guy. You have just lived 2 lineman dreams in a row.
In about 10 seconds.
McDaniel in the backfield. Speed sweep comes to Kilpatrick. He'll turn it up, breaks a couple of tackles, spin move there, and stiff arm goes into the end zone.
Never got turned back in, never got blunted. You can see there's not going to be a maroon shirt from the right side of your screen going back to the left at all, and that's what you got to have to stop that play. Someone has to set the edge. Good, tough running right.
Phillies played in 3 straight state championships. Pitch it back. This time they will give it to Higgins. Higgins in the open field. Could he get his touchdown here down the far sideline? And yes, into the end zone. It goes Peyton Higgins, and he does get his touchdown in the championship game. And you see they just kind of pitch it back to him in a hurry and set up the wall. Once he got through that initial wave, he just turns it on. One man to beat, and he outruns everybody into the end zone. So Higgins, no telling how many football discussions they've had in the house. And loose ball on the kickoff. And Dozier's going to get it. He'll flip it back at the last moment.
This could get interesting.
Here comes Randy Glanton. And he will take it into the end zone. Let's see, loose ball, just like you draw it up.
A lot of people
and
on
Dozier
the ground.
here looks, and as he starts to go down, he just flips it out.
He's up.
And Glanton just outruns everybody in the end zone, and Abbeville is on the board again.
Tommy, you reckon that was a planned play?
I think so. I think you drop it, and then
oh boy, that's a critical mistake here.
Prairie rolls to the left, throws it out there in the end zone. Did he haul that in? Yes, he did. An incredible catch. Miles Butler.
On the rollout, he throws it low and away where it's only going to be one guy can catch it.
He will go down. We're shielded there. Catholic up by 9. He'll fake the screen, go to the other side. Finds a gap, gets a block. Open field. 45. Down the far sideline. One man to beat. 10-5. And the Catholic Knights take a 15-0 lead here at Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Catholic just has not been able to have the ball. Fife has been able to completely turn the tempo of this game.
And hit at the line and driven back. Rowell meets a wall in there, and it's led by the big guy TJ Dudley and also Pat Ryan. 4th and goal. Stiefel in motion across, fakes it. Rowell right side hit, and he's not going to get there. He was hit in the backfield and tripped up, and he will be stopped shy of the goal line. Rowell going to keep it. He's going to walk in. You watch everybody kind of move back.
Yeah, no, they definitely, they let him score right there. You can see they're going to let him get in, try to get the ball back, save themselves some time.
Play clock down to 8. They'll go Meadows left side, and they lean on the guy, and he delivers. Meadows dives into the end zone for the Hanley score. Still can tie things up with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, but a great run by Meadows puts Hanley up.
3rd and goal from the 9. Perryman gets the pass away. It's caught. Lewis reaches out. However, Gerhard, while we were away, we had some looks at this previous play, and that could very well, this play could be overturned, and we will see this being reviewed as we speak. 4th and 2. They throw the ball, and they complete it to Passau. Great yardage after the catch, down the sideline, and it'll be a touchdown.
And you're starting to see the way that both these receivers, both wearing the deuce, Passau and Chris Lewis, coming up with big plays on the outside. You saw Lewis at the top of the second half. That time, Passau.
Tyron hands it off to Sharp Jr. Huge gaping hole, and Sharp is going to score.
Watch the blocking up front here. Virtually untouched. The only player that had a shot at him was from the backside. And
Tyron, play action. Pass over the middle. McKinstry goes up and catches it at the 35, spins his way out of trouble, and he's going to take this the distance. And that's the big play capability that we keep talking about with Pinson Valley.
And watch how this play develops. Got the ball out of his hands very quickly, a little bit high, but McKinstry goes up and gets it, and you have to make that first tackle, and if you don't, it's athlete versus athlete. And
would have been a big play for this Toro defense. Pyron lobs it up to the end zone, and wide open is Jaquel Fells.
Need to keep the football away, and they are going to go for it, and here it is, a big gain for Caldwell in the open field. Caldwell 15-10. Say your goodbyes. He's out of here.
Season. It's been a great season, but it's sure not what they wanted, as that was going to be blocked, and maybe it's not over with quite yet.
And going to return it all the way into the end zone. So
Thompson's got a good chance of getting this.
Already going to kick it. Going to try to get a hop. He does, and Thompson recovers.
You know, I don't understand the Auburn alignment right there at all.
They don't let him kick it. It's up, and it is good. It is good.
There you go.
And Thompson, on a last-second field goal, wins it 29-28.
Sarah Automotive wants to get America rolling again during our holiday cashback and liquidation sales event going on now. With your new vehicle purchase, you'll receive a free 50-inch smart TV or $200 Visa gift card. Bad credit, no credit, our goal is 100% credit approval. $2,000 minimum for your trade. Push, pull, or tow it. Hurry to our holiday cashback and liquidation sale going on now at Sarah Honda, Sarah Nissan, and Tony Sarah Ford, Highway 280 in Sylacauga. Merry Christmas from Sarah Automotive.
Last Friday night at the Super 7 at the Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, our crew had a chance to chat with the executive director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association, Steve Savarese, about this year's Super 7.
All things considered in this year 2020, I think this has been a fantastic Super 7. I'd like to get your thoughts here at halftime.
Well, thank you guys. And I want to thank you first of all for all you've done to make this production outstanding. We've had so many compliments from all over our state regarding the broadcast that you brought to so many families. So we thank WOTM. Vince, thank you a million for a great job. And if I had to use one word to describe this event and this season, it's just been awesome. And allowing our kids to have the experiences they've had, we give all the credit to our member schools for all the challenges they've faced throughout this football season. We couldn't have done it without them. We're very grateful for our coaches, our administrators, and all of our fans for their cooperations, helping us mitigate the virus so our kids could be here tonight.
Coach, from a bigger picture perspective, this will be the final night of our fall sports. We've also crowned champions in volleyball and cross country. After what happened last spring, how important is this moment being able to honor intercollective athletes, as well as being able to get these competitions and these champions crowned?
Well, let me say this. We do have one other sport going on right now, and that's swimming. And we finished swimming Saturday. We crowned our girls champions today. We have Friday and Saturday to continue with our boys. But to say all this, what fall sports have done have allowed us to have winter sports. And what we'll do in winter sports will allow us to have spring sports. And the Alabama High School Athletic Association is committed to continuing with our winter and spring sports.
Coach, I tell you, the thing that really stands out to me, and I thought about this at the beginning of the year, is the big winner here is the kids, because sometimes we take these moments for granted, and it is all about these kids and the memories that are created for these young men and women over a lifetime. And I know it's very gratifying for you being there on the field at Bryant-Denny Stadium to see these teams come out at the Super 7 and just get to experience this competition and this event.
Well, the kids have been the benefactors, and I've had hundreds of kids that have contacted by emails, written letters, thanking us for that opportunity. There's one thing we know. Our seniors are not coming back. They don't get another opportunity to play. And we forget how important the junior year and the sophomore year is for so many of our student athletes to get the recognition they need for other opportunities. So we're grateful that our children had this opportunity. But let me say again, without our member schools, and I would be remiss if I didn't, thank the AHSAA staff for just the awesome job they did also to provide these opportunities. We are very grateful for our kids.
Coach, you've been on message. You just referenced the AHSAA staff. You've been on message really since the summertime as we were trying to lay the bricks down, so to speak, in order to make the fall sports season happen. What have they been able to do as far as from a leadership standpoint in order to secure the rules? That way everybody across the state knows what to do moving forward and how you continue to do so in the winter and the spring.
What they've been able to do is be flexible because it's changed. In July, there was a totally different dynamic. Last June, there was a totally different dynamic. And they would write guidelines for the dynamic that was present at that moment. But they worked tirelessly. They didn't even take any vacation this summer. We've worked in the office since March when this all began. And they did it all because they love kids and they love sport. And this is a reflection of their hard work and a testament to what they do every day. And I'm honored and privileged to work with each of our staff members.
Coach Savarese, thanks for taking some time to speak with us here at halftime. And as we go to break, I'll say this. This was a situation that really required leadership, and I know you won't say it, but we'll say it. Congratulations to what you've been able to do and your leadership throughout this situation. I think you guys have done a fantastic job. It seems like every decision, every call you've made has been right on the money, and here we are enjoying the Super 7 because of it. So congratulations to you as well.
Well, thank you, but I had really nothing to do with it. I'm just part of a great team, and that's the Alabama High School Athletic Association, and I'm blessed to be in the position to serve our member schools.
All right, Steve Savarese joining us here at halftime. Coach, enjoy the second half of what is shaping up to be a great 6A state championship game tonight in Tuscaloosa as Spanish Fort is leading by a field goal at halftime. Coach, again, thanks for joining us here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
As we close out this week's AHSAA Weekly, a special look back at all 7 state championship games at the Super 7 at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. We'll see you back here next week.
Work so hard just to make this show. blues first hit these streets, had to scratch and claw, made me hard to beat. They were real early mornings and late nights. Had to put in the time just to get it right. Now it's time to make my stand. Gonna show the whole world just who I am. This is the big time, ready, set, go. Work so hard just to make this show. Under the lights, it's time to shine. Get your game face on, 'cause this is the big time. This is the big time. This is the big time, ready, set, go. Work so hard just to make this show. Under the lights, it's time to shine. Get your game face on, 'cause this is the big time. This is the big time, ready, set, go. Work so hard just to make this show. Under the lights, it's time to shine. Get your game face on, 'cause this is the big time.